And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton with the big fella, former Milwaukee Bucks center, Paul Mokeski, coming to you on Monday uh, of Super Bowl week, big week, Mo. We got the Super Bowl, we got trade deadlines, we got so much to
We
talk
got
to.
we got Super Bowl right here in my backyard of Las Vegas, Nevada. This place is getting crazy. 300,000 plus people will be added to our city within the week. It's insane. The ticket prices are crazy. We have things going on all over the place. Vegas, we knew it was the entertainment capital, but it's the sports capital of the world,
But Mo, how can you tell when things are getting crazy in Vegas
man.
when it's always jumping off? You could actually tell there's a step up in activity.
Oh yeah, because some roads are closed and there's more signs up, and yeah, and when I took you down the strip here when you visited, it was crowded, but this kind of week, you can't even walk down the strip. It's that crowded.
Wow.
Not that
Yeah.
I would want to, but
Well, yeah. And I forgot you mentioned you'll see a lot more of the Lear jets parked
they
over
uh,
there.
they ran out of spots. They have there's the main airport, there's the Henderson Executive Airport, there's the North Las Vegas Executive Airport. They ran out of spots for private jets, so some people are going to have to land, unload, take off again, and go park in Phoenix. It's
Wow.
crazy. It's great.
Wow.
Well, we just had the F1 race here, and they made an extra area around the airport for jets, private jets. They added that, so you could add. That's full too. Now, I mean, just think, you probably paid. Well, if you wanted a suite, you paid 2.6 million for the suite. If you wanted one, that seats 24. If you wanted like good tickets, you're talking about 8, 10, $12,000, 15,000 a pop. And you got your own private jet, but guess what? Sorry, Ricky, you can't park your private jet here. You got to land. They got to throw you and your luggage out, and then go back over to Phoenix to wait for you to call
That
them.
you know the city is jumping off. In fact, I saw something and you've been talking about this for like the last 2 or 3 years. It was one of the national news broadcasts. It may have been CBS where they were talking about. Uh, uh, no, it was actually CNN talking about how Las Vegas has become this sports mecca over the last few years. And you've been talking about that. They were talking about the Super Bowl coming in and Formula One and the WNBA team. When back in
And
the day, Mo, you nobody wanted to touch Las
because
Vegas.
because of the taboo on gambling, and everybody thought put a pro team in Vegas, and the gambling entity or whatever would they you know cheat or get caught up in that. And but now let's come on, man. In any city in the country, you can gamble. You can place bets on anything.
Right,
You can place
right,
bets on how many times Taylor Swift's going to be on the camera on
right,
Sunday. You can place that bet there in Detroit. You can.
right.
So I think that stigma has gone away. I mean, we have NHL, we have the Golden Knights who won the Stanley Cup this year, right? We have the Oakland A's are coming here. They're going to tear down the Tropicana Hotel on the Strip and build a stadium there. It's going to take about 3 or 4 years, but they're coming here. An NBA team will be here within the next 2 or 3 years. So they'll have every major league franchise here, along with, well, the sphere they have is unbelievable. All the concerts, all the shows. It's just it's crazy how this place has grown.
Yeah, yeah. And we're gonna talk some more NFL later in the show, and we definitely want to welcome our viewers and friends who follow us to the show tonight. And we want to let everybody know we're part of a new network. We are now members of the Sports Fluent family, so that means you can just catch our show all over the place, as Sport Fluent is one of the up and coming sports platforms in the business today. And Paul and I are proud to be part of the Sports Fluent family. That's Sports Fluent, Sports Fluent. And you will continue to be able to get us on our Facebook page and wherever else you happen to see the show. So nothing's changed. We're just growing to where we'll be able to be seen by more people, not only across America, Mo, but this is an international venture, so all over the world.
Yeah,
Which you have coached all over the world, so I know you got fans all over the world.
well, I know I've been on a lot of podcasts in the Philippines and Korea and Greece and all over. So hopefully we'll get those people watching us and talking basketball and football and sports in general and life in general.
Hey, Mo, by the way, you spent the past couple of weeks doing some international broadcasts. What league was that you were working with?
It's called
With
the
the sports analysis.
it's the FIBA Champions League. So it's of Americas. Teams from Venezuela, Brazil, Uruguay, Mexico, and they play in. It's called the Champions League. So they play once. They play once a month. All the teams come into one situation, and they play for 4 or 5 days pool play, and that's going to accumulate with the championship here in the next couple months. So it's FIBA basketball.
And so next month they'll get together also and play, go somewhere and play.
Yeah, they get together for 5 days every month. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty interesting. You see some good players, international players, possible guys good enough to come over and play in the NBA one day.
Well,
Anybody
this
that
like
stood off?
there's a couple younger players that might be NBA ready. Maybe they're younger. Most of the guys though are from their country. You'd be surprised. Most of the guys are over 30 years old and they play for their national teams and do that. So and there's guys that have experience in the NBA and the G League. Um, so not really NBA prospect people. Those are in the Euro leagues and stuff. So this is a different level, but it's good basketball. There's good basketball played all over the world. All you got to do is look on the internet, and you can find games in Greece, in Spain, in France, everywhere. Good basketball is being played in front of sold crowds.
Yeah. And of course, the best of the best is still played here in the good old US of A. And speaking of the best, Mo, we just had the All-Star game announcement. I'll quickly go through the starters from the East and the West. I'm glad to see them go back to the old traditional format. Over in the West, you have LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and Nikola Jokic, the Joker, Giannis over in the East, Joel Embiid, who's hurt. We're going to talk about him. Tyrese Halliburton, Damon Lillard, Jason Tatum, and we'll get to the reserves a little later. But your thoughts, Mo, on the selection of the All-Star team and the decision to go back to the old format.
Yeah, I like going back to the old format rather than the pickup game they talked about, where players pick players and all that stuff. That was fun for a minute. It really didn't work. I really wish that they would seriously look at international versus USA players. I just think that would really spice it up because the All-Star game is almost as bad as the NFL Pro Bowl I just watched for about 5 minutes this weekend, where they play flag freaking football. I mean, come on, man. But the NBA All-Star game used to be competitive, and guys used to try to show how they could perform against the best, and there's pride involved, East and West, but then it got into just no defense, 160 points. I mean, nobody wants to see that, all dunks and all that stuff. We want something competitive. Either make it international versus USA, or make it like baseball does, where the winner of the conference that wins the All-Star game gets home field or court in the finals. Now that would be something to play for too.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Hey, Mo, we got a comment from uh, okay. Hey, Paul, why couldn't Terry come and keep averaging 20 and 10 his first two seasons? Then he fell off. I don't remember Terry really losing very much over the course of his career.
No, I mean, Terry started, I think, in the San Diego Clippers. I think that's where he started before he was traded to the Bucks when I was there, with Craig Hodges and Ricky Pierce, in a big trade, um, to see, I think, in my opinion, in my day in the '80s, Terry Cummings and Marcus Johnson were the most overlooked forwards in the East, because when it come to voting for the All-Star game, you had Larry Bird and Dominique Wilkins. So TC and Marcus Johnson got overlooked a lot, but both of those guys could score, rebound, handle the ball, get to the basket, and do all that stuff. But I don't remember TC dropping off that much until maybe
No,
after he left the Bucks. I don't. He went to a couple other teams, and he
he went
might
to
have
San
dropped off.
Antonio.
Yeah, he might have dropped off a little bit, but when he was at his prime, he was,
Yeah,
no one, Dominique, Larry Bird, Celtics, Philly, none of those dudes wanted to play against TC because he was tough and could really punish you going to the basket, a la Karl Malone.
and Paul, the thing about it, I'm actually looking at his stats now. He came into the league with the San Diego Clippers. He
Yep.
averaged right at 19 and 19 his first year. But then he came to Milwaukee, averaged 19, 17, 17, 18, 19, 18. Uh, and and of course the scoring was going down, and the scoring really didn't go down, but he was on a better team, so he wasn't required to
Yeah.
score.
I mean, the San Diego Clippers were terrible. So, you get more shots. When you come to the Milwaukee Bucks and you have Sidney Moncrief and Paul Pressey and, go down the list, Jack Sigma, your scoring's going to go down a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, yeah. But okay, man, we really appreciate your comments, and I think okay is one of our new visitors
Hey,
from
man,
the Sports
good to have
Fluent
you.
Network. Man, tell your buddies about our show, Mo, and okay, and we hope to see you around. Stick around because we got a lot to talk about tonight. Feel free to share your comments as we make it through the show. Uh, Getting back to the All-Star game, Mo, yeah, I'm glad to see that, and I'm hoping it would be a little more defense. Where I was just waiting for somebody to score 200 points in a game.
Which could happen, yeah. Yeah, the way they
Uh,
play no defense.
yeah, yeah. But you know what was really interesting? What we discussed last week when we saw some of these really high scores. I think Embiid had a 70-point game. Carl Anthony Town had a 62-point game, and people were talking about the scoring in the league. But this is really nothing that's unusual, as you pointed out so astutely.
Yeah, I think the personal scoring, 70, 60, those numbers haven't been seen since Alex English or David Thompson or Ice Gervin or back in the day Will Chamberlain, who put up those kind of numbers. But team-wise, when you look at the seasons that had the highest scoring average by team in the '80s and the '70s and there are lots of teams that average as many as they do now. So that really hasn't changed, even though the perception is it has.
Yeah, yeah. That was a great point, man.
Well, and I will say this too, as far as individual wise, back in the day, they didn't have the 3-point line, back in the back day, but also back in the day from 10 years ago, they didn't, foul calls are so, touchy now that, regular guys can shoot 15, 18 free throws in a game, and that those numbers add up. Back in the day, you had to knock somebody down for them to get to the free throw line. Now all you got to do is find a body, fall down, and you get free throws. So, I think, and they're actually protecting the shooter more, like 3-point shooters, fouling the 3-point shooter. That drives me crazy, but you got to give them space to land. So now you can have 3 free throws, you can have a 4-point play. So that all adds to individual scoring too. Not necessarily for the team scoring, maybe a little bit, but more for the individuals.
Hey, was that rule, the play space to land? Has that always been there, Paul?
No, that was in probably in the 90s, maybe. Man, I think Sean Elliott for the Spurs, I think, was kind of
Yeah,
caught doing that a little bit. But
yeah.
you know what? Before that, I'll tell you, a guy named Bill Laimbeer did that a lot, especially to the to the Celtics, that they hated that. But I think it really showed, that you got to protect the shooter so they don't turn their ankle, break their ankle, and but I think that happened maybe in the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, and
Hey,
then and then Ricky, you got the so when they went to that side, then you had shooters shooting and kicking their leg out and trying to
right,
create that. So they had to
right.
put in a rule that if you kick your leg off, it's actually an offensive foul, as it should be.
Reggie Miller was the king of that shot too, kicking that leg out
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
drawing that
yeah.
that
Your
foul.
your guy Prince in Detroit was good at that too, coming off those staggered doubles and pulling up.
Yeah. Hey Mo, the big news this week, I think, is the injury to Joel Embiid. Man, this guy was having a tremendous year, averaging 35 points a game and 11 rebounds, almost 6 assists. Uh, has a flap tear on his meniscus, and they say back in 2 months, hopefully. But you're very familiar with that injury during your playing career.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had 2 surgeries while I was playing. I had another surgery when I was coaching at USC. They had to go in and clean out a lot of some meniscus stuff and stuff that was in there. So they're not going to know how serious it is till they open up, and scope it and see in there with their camera. Before you used to have to cut open the knee. Now they have a camera. They put the camera in and they put a cutter thing in and a holder grabber. You only get like 3 little holes in your knee, just 3 of them. But they're going to go in there and they're going to see, is the meniscus torn all the way? And we just pull out that piece. Is it a flap where, a big flap where maybe we could sew it back up, which is the best scenario actually? Or is it a little flap that we got to cut off part of the meniscus? The problem is, and I'm there, that's why I have my knee replacement over the last year, is once you start doing that with the meniscus, pretty soon there's no more meniscus, and that's the protection of the friction between your bones and your knee joint. And then there's nothing to do that, so it's bone on bone. So, but they won't know till they go in there. And I'm 7 foot, 300 pounds now. I played at about 280. Embiid is 7 foot 280. He says 270, but he's closer to 280, 290. So we have big bodies, and our knees to absorb a lot of that compression. And it's not as easy to come back as if say you're a little guy at 6'8" and 220. A little guy.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's just a different animal, and he's had knee problems before. He's had back problems, so it's just really tough because you know he does it all. I mean, and you know what? When you watch him, Ricky, it looks like he's in slow motion.
yeah,
He's gonna fake, and then he's gonna dribble, and then you can't stop him though. He's got the touch. He can shoot threes. He can create contact. He's got right and left around the hoop. So, it's really sad to see someone like that go down. Um, but time frame, it could be, optimistically, you're looking at 8 weeks. They always say 6 to 8, but I would say 8 to 10, probably more closer, which puts them around in the playoffs, getting close to the playoffs. And then it's tough to come back and be in playing shape by then. So Philly was building up. They're playing well in the East. They probably were going to make a trade to get themselves a little better and give Boston a run for their money. But this changes everything now. Now they have a decision. Do we still make a trade, bring someone in like an Andre Drummond or someone like that that can shore us up for a while till Embiid gets back? Or do we just stay where we are? We see what happens. If Embiid comes back for the playoffs, we're probably in a play-in situation. To see what happens then, and then they have 50 million. They'll be 50 million under the salary cap next year to sign free agents. So do we try to make a run at it now, or do we just wait and stand pat? And we know Daryl Morey is their GM, and he's very, very good at trading and getting value for value. So we're going to see here in the next couple of days, because the trade deadlines come up, what Philly's going to do. That may dictate what a lot of other teams might do.
But Mo, Joel, it's such a great player, but man, you gotta be concerned about him going forward. He turns 30 later in March. He'll be 30 years old, and that knee is not going to get better. I mean, once that starts happening, it it doesn't get better; it gets worse.
Well, I mean, he's 30 years old. So really, if you look at it, he's got another 5, 6 years ahead of him. However, his body is probably 45. I mean,
No,
like
really,
he's
yeah,
had back surgeries, knee surgeries. I mean, I just turned 67, but my body's about 90. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
And I was thinking, you played with the great Bob Lanier, who had
oh,
those chronic knees. I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, he was when he was in Milwaukee. It was towards the end of his career. He was still a very good center, not all-star quality anymore. But his knees, he never practiced. He could have practiced. He just played games because
yeah,
he only had so many minutes left on those knees. And when I went in for one of my surgeries in Milwaukee, it was just meniscus. Um, you know,
just meniscus.
yeah, I was kind of freaked out a little bit, and the doctor says, "Hey, chill out, chill out. Let me show you these X-rays." And he put them up on the little screen there, and he goes, "See these?" I'm going, "Damn, that guy's messed up. That's Bob Lanier."
Wow. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, which puts more pressure on the Sixers. They are currently, even right now they're slid to the fifth spot, technically behind the New York Knicks at 30-18, and they're not going to have them for 2 months.
Yeah,
Boy, that's an interesting. If you're in that front office, that's an interesting position that you're in.
yeah. If they don't make a move and get someone to help out, you're looking at. So they're in fifth right now. They're 3 games ahead of Indiana, who made a trade and got better. So Indiana will pass them. You're 4 games ahead of
Orlando.
Orlando. Orlando might pass you, but I'll tell you who will pass you is Miami.
It's
So
Miami.
you're 5 games ahead of Miami, which is an eighth spot. They're going to pass you. So now you're looking at a play-in situation. That happens. There's only 30 games left, I think. 32 games left. So but you can drop. They can drop from fifth to eighth easily, and maybe not farther, but that's a situation they're going to have to make that decision pretty quickly here. Do we save our 50 million we're under the salary cap for next year and wait for Embiid to come back healthy, or do we make a stopgap, find someone like an Andre Drummond or Capella or someone like that to bring in? He can play center until Embiid gets back, and then he can, and then both those guys would help him in the playoffs. But the problem is there's no guarantee that Joel will come back even this year. It's just not guaranteed. And he's going to have surgery probably on the trade deadline day. So I'm sure Daryl Morey's going to have a direct line to that surgeon to say how bad it was before he makes any moves.
Hey, Paul, could they possibly become sellers and just say, "Hey, we just going to, you know, try this next year"?
Well,
I
what
think
do you
that
mean?
the
What
one
do you
guy
mean by?
would be the forward. Just make some deals. I know they're not going to trade Maxey.
They're not trading Maxey. They're not trading Tobias Harris. They're
That's
not.
the one I was think would they trade Tobias?
No, he's averaging 18 and 6 now. I mean, he ever since Harden left, Tobias Harris has become the player he is supposed to be, right?
Yeah,
So they're not going to trade him. Kelly Oubre, they like a lot. They're not going to trade him. But everybody else is pretty much trade. But no, I mean, there's Patrick Beverly, there's Morris, there's Paul Reed,
yeah. Just no,
there's Robert Covington, who I coached in RGV in the D League, G League, who was really good player, played for them before, then got traded. He's been traded like 4 times in the last 3 years because he's a piece that he makes 12 million, so you can move him around. Bantam, the guy they got, he's tradable, but nobody really wants those guys. What's going to be interesting? If they do stand pat, they have a young big guy, 7-footer named Mo Bamba there that a lot of people think, he's a Holgram type player. He's very active and athletic. Maybe he's only averaging 10 minutes a game and he's averaging 4 points and 4 rebounds. Maybe you start giving him 20 and 25 and see if you can make him into a player, so there's a lot of tough times ahead for Philly. And before we move on, I want to send my condolences to the Earl Cureton's family. Earl passed away yesterday in his home. He was doing some radio and TV stuff, and I played against Earl Cureton my whole 12 years in the NBA, mostly when I was with the Bucks battling the Philadelphia 76ers. And Earl was only 66 years old, just a good, great, solid player, but a great, great guy, class guy. And we want to pass on our condolences and our prayers for his family moving forward and the Philadelphia 76ers family.
yeah, and he was a Detroiter, University of Detroit. Spent some time with the Pistons. Did some radio and TV for the Pistons, and yep, he really beloved around this area. Earl the Twirl.
Yep, Earl was man. We played against he was a backup to Moses Malone, and I was a backup to Jack Sigma, and so we would end up playing a lot against each other in the regular season, but a lot in the playoffs. And just a respectful guy. I did a
Yeah,
lot in the community. He was doing a lot of work. I think he was scheduled to be on the radio or TV with Greg Kelser there in Detroit. I think on Sunday.
yeah. He would sit in on, for Piston games from time
He
to time.
he had
Yeah,
actually sat in the day before for Rick Mahorn, who was sick.
on
And
on the radio. Yep,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
So, but Earl was just
You
just
can
a
see that old big smile.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
look. You know what? If you that picture, he looks a little bit James Edwardsy there with that
yeah.
Fu Manchu. But James is a great guy too. But it's really the NBA family for players. There's only been I can't remember. I used to know the numbers. I think there's only 2,500, 2,300 of us that have ever played in the NBA in the 100+ years. And when we lose someone like that, it's just it hits everybody, especially my era. I mean, I'm 67, he's 66. We lost Moses
Yeah.
Malone, we lost Daryl Dawkins. It's just it hits our whole community, so we wish that family well.
Mo, we got all these new visitors to the show, and we want to welcome in Julio's checking in. Great show.
Coach,
So
coach,
much, so much knowledge. Thank you, Julio. The knowledge
hey,
comes from the big fellow over there,
yeah,
Paul
he's
Mokeski.
that's coach. Coach is in San Antonio. He's seen Wembyamba play a lot. I like that guy, coach. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be okay, Mo. But
Yeah.
you said he was gonna go through, and this is what I'm saying. Everybody was wowing about Mo, about Wimby. Mo saying, just relax, relax, because he's gonna have some tough nights. He's gonna have some good ones. He's gonna have a lot of tough ones, but we'll see. He'll work out and
He's
he'll be okay.
he's in a different world, man. You're playing with men and pros and the best in the world, and you're playing 82 games and you're traveling. So at his age, he's going to be like this. But I'll tell you what, his highs are nice and high, and his lows aren't very low anymore. I like that. And he's competitive. I like that.
Our good friend Steve's checking in saying, "What's up? What's up, Steve?"
Hey,
Hey
Steve.
Mo, if you saw Wimby after the season and he came to Vegas, what would you have him doing?
Well, I think, as much as he tries to say he doesn't, he needs more strength and a little in his upper body, more in his lower body. But he is so flexible, and really works hard on that, which he needs to continue. But he needs to get stronger, and he's going to find out, because you take a beating in the NBA for all those games, and even if you play on the outside like he does, you still get in there. You're still getting rebounds. And what I would do is I would really break down all his games and sit down and watch with him and see, you know, why aren't you a better rebounder? You should be averaging 10, 12, 14 rebounds a game. So let's see why. Part of it's your strength, part of it's your positioning, and let's see where you can get better. He's a good offensive rebounder because he cuts in there and he's long, but defensively, he needs to become a better rebounder. And I would look more. I haven't studied him that much about his passing. I know he can handle the ball, and I know he can bring it down and do that stuff. But to be a passer like the Joker or someone like that, you can't. You got it. You can't turn the ball over. You got to really be specific with that.
Yeah, and we got a lot of new visitors tonight, Mo. And I'll tell you, if you're new to this show, you are in for a treat because you're right. This is classic NBA talk. Although we talk about the game today, Paul Mokeski not only played 12 years in the NBA, has coached in the NBA, has coached all over the world, and still follows the game closely. And it's no telling who you might see on this show, from Dr. J to Artis Gilmore, the Iceman, George Gervin. Uh, how many Hall of Famers have we had on this show?
I don't know. Dell Harris, Jack
Rick Barry.
Yeah, Rick Barry, Jack Sikma, Sidney Moncrief just went in the Hall of Fame. We've had on this show, Chris Finch, the All-Star NBA All-Star coach from Minnesota. He's been on this show. He's a good friend of mine. We just got him from everywhere, and we'll keep them coming.
Yeah.
So all you guys can and girls can answer questions directly to them.
So
We've had so many that
yeah.
it's hard to count.
Thank you, Wood. Wood Age 84. I hope I said that right. Wood Age. He has another. Players complaining about playing 65 games. Parrish averaged 77 games for 21 years.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. I
hey
mean,
Mo, we've had this discussion tonight, but we got so many new viewers checking in. Go back over that from your perspective, just for our newer listeners, viewers tonight.
well, I played in an era where there was no load management. That was ridiculous, and part of it was the players. I played against the best, from Kareem to Magic, Michael Jordan, Bird, Charles Barkley, just to keep going down the list. But those guys never wanted to miss a game. Um, Partly because no one missed games, but also partly because they knew that someone in that stadium, in that arena, was probably seeing them for the first time and maybe the only time. So they wanted to make sure that everyone that came to the games could see them play. Michael Jordan, you know, when we're playing, he played with the Bulls. We only went out to the West once. So LA, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, Portland, wherever. We went out there one time, so those fans had one chance to see Michael Jordan play in person, and he wasn't going to sit down and just for load management and give them a chance not to see him play. And Charles Barkley had said it as well as anybody too. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. You guys will hear me say, come on, man. You're making 20, 30, 40, $50 million a year and you can't play 3 games a week, maybe 4. I mean, I'm not going to, sometimes you might call me old man, get off the lawn guy, but I mean, we flew commercial. We didn't fly private. We didn't have masseuses. We didn't have the people cooking us dinner. We had one trainer. We didn't have, we didn't. So, and we just did what we had to do. But for now, I was with the Dallas Mavericks for 5 years as an assistant coach and scout. I flew on the jets. I stayed at the Four Seasons. I know what the life is, and there's no reason that you have to sit out for load management. Now injuries, yeah, you can injuries and being hurt, that's part of the business, but that's on you. But load management, come on, man.
And Mo, you also said there is a way to address this issue of load management just by the way you manage your players.
Yeah, I mean, and load management started with Popovich in San Antonio when he had Ginobili, Parker, and Duncan, and he load managed them, and they didn't go on trips and stuff. That's where it all came about, where the league was, starting to find people. But you can, we know we got to rest Rickey tonight somewhat. So he usually plays 37 minutes. We're going to play him 30. And his backup, Paul Mokeski, is going to play those other 7. So you get some more rest, Well, and I'm going to tell you, once the season starts, nobody in the NBA practices, like really practices, like because you're flying around, you're trying to rest up. So you only have 1 or 2 days in between games. So what practice is, it's an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes of getting some shots up, going through your offense, making any adjustments, doing a few drills, and then player development, doing some stuff, getting in the weight room, getting treatment. That's it. There's no scrimmaging. There's no hard drills, one-on-one drills. Those days are gone. So, you have enough off days in the season to rest. So, there's ways to do it. And, not to miss games. I don't believe that's a way to do that.
Yeah. Steve says, ask Harvey Catchings that question. He said, I always wanted to play against the best. I mean, just in a lot of cases, just personal pride. But man, we welcome your comments. All our new viewers here tonight. We got one more from Wood Age. Warriors had a plan in 2015 and 16 when their starters played 30, 33 minutes, and their bench played 15, 18 minutes a game. They won 67 and 73 games with that strategy.
Yeah, but they had a good bench, right? They
Yeah.
had Livingston. They had, I think they had Sean Marion. Iguodala. They had a strong bench, and for those of you out here that are just tuning in, I'm really good friends with Steve Kerr. I play with him. We stay in contact, and quite frankly, he's tried to play his bench, but and they're struggling this year, having a tough year. But their bench hasn't been up to the task, and one of the reasons for that is Andrew Wiggins is having the worst year of his career. So you really stretch your bench and you stretch your starters when people aren't playing up to their potential. The Kuminga is really coming forward and showing he's going to be a player, but up to this last month, he wasn't very consistent either. So you want to, rather than load management, do time management, like you just said, and use your bench more, plug them in when you can, and rest your guys that way. There's also, I've talked to Rickey about this, there's a way to do it in a game. So if we're ending the first quarter and there's a minute and a half left in the first quarter, I can take Rickey out of the game. He's going to miss that minute and a half of regular play. he's going to miss a minute and a half of the timeout, right? So now you're at 3 minutes. I can rest him for the next 2 or 3 minutes and put him in. That's 6 or 7 minutes of rest, really, because I used the timeout. So you can do it that way also.
Yeah. Hey, Mo, aren't the Lakers just pushing LeBron uh, too far? I mean, this guy's still playing heavy minutes at his age.
And so's AD. But let's go back to, the Lakers bench. I mean, it's non-existent really, so, and, Darvin Ham I've known for a long time, and he's a young coach, but everyone was giving him crap for so long about, you got to get some starters, you got to stay with your they were struggling, losing all these games, so he had to find a starting group that could actually start. And I think he's kind of honed in on that, because look at what they've done over the last week or so, Ricky. They
Yeah.
beat Oklahoma City twice. They beat Boston in Boston. They beat Denver in Denver, I think. So they're coming along. But I think, to answer, they are, because LeBron is 39 years old. I mean, he's in great shape. I mean, ridiculous. I mean, come on, man. But eventually it's going to catch up to him for sure. And trying to get, I don't know what spot they're in now. I think they're in
They are 9.
9. You're in the play-in. I mean, so, but they're only a game behind Dallas. They're only a couple games behind New Orleans. To get out of the play-in, might be a valuable thing for you. But guess what? Weren't they in the play-in last year?
Yeah.
They were in the play-in and went to the
Conference finals.
conference finals. So is it better to rest LeBron and be ready for the play-in or try to move up? That's only what they can say. What they can do. I still think they need another piece.
Hey, what is happening in these front offices right now, Mo? As we're 2 days from the trade deadline, what are these meetings going like? And I
Well,
know it depends. If you're in the upper tier of the conference and the lower tier, you might be able, hey, let's trade everybody. But how is that working?
well, there's all kinds of things, because this isn't fantasy basketball, so you can't just trade anybody for anybody. The salary cap and rules that come into trading and adding players. So you first of all, in the meeting, there's a person that's all they monitor. They're a salary cap experts, and they monitor everything. So general manager, assistant GM, scouts, player directors, maybe the head coach are in the room. And, if you're a top level team, you're saying we're doing well. Maybe we fix this spot. Maybe what can it take? If you're mid level, you're saying we may need to make a bigger move to get a piece that'll put us up to a higher level. If you're in the lower level, you're saying, well, are we going to just throw in the towel and rebuild for next year? Or do we have some good pieces we want to hold on? Who are we going to trade? And if you're in the top two tiers, the top tier and the middle tier, you're calling the lower tier to see if you can steal somebody from them. So, and then you're going through all this strategy. You have every GM in the NBA has a board on their wall that has all the players of every team on the wall, and it has their status as a free agent, non-free agent, how many years they have in their contract, how much they make. It's all on their wall. So he can point to the wall and say, hey, if we traded XYZ for ABC, will that work in our salary cap? Can we do that? And then they get on their computer and they say yes or no. And then if it's yes, then you go, do we want to do that? And if that's yes, then we make the call to that team. And usually you have someone on your staff that has a relationship with every team. Someone relates to everything. And you have, okay, call them, see if they'd be interested. And that's how trade stuff starts and trade rumors happen.
Steve has a good question. I don't know if you had a chance to see him much. What are your thoughts of young Bronny James, who slept in his freshman season at USC?
Well, I haven't seen him in person. I've seen him on TV a little bit. But frankly, he had a medical problem, right? early in the summer, and then he got cleared. But frankly, if you look, he's not a draftable player. He's averaging 5 points and 4 rebounds. He's not a draftable player. I mean, so, uh, I would suggest he goes back to school. But I know LeBron wants to play with his son. You know what? I don't know though. Does his son want to play with LeBron? We don't know that because guess what? A burden that's going to be. And, you're going to go to that team and everyone's going to say you're there because your dad's there. And, you're only playing because your daddy wants you to play. And that's a burden on a burden. So, I know, he's not a big player. He's a guard. He shoots threes. He's athletic and high basketball IQ. But when you look at the college level in European basketball, those guys are a dime a dozen. There's a lot of 6'4", 6'5" guys out there. So, I would hope he stays in another season. And, I have 2 sons. They played overseas for a little bit. And I did my best not to put pressure on them to do certain stuff because they have enough pressure. You know, both my sons are one 7 foot, Brian, and one 6'8", Michael, and they played in college and played overseas. But and I wasn't a great player. I was a 12-year NBA vet, though. I don't want them to think, oh, we got to be like dad, and people want to, well, you're not in the NBA, you're not like dad. I didn't want that. Times 100 with LeBron, right? 1,000. So, so I would hope that, he would stay in another year, try and get better. Because right now, in my opinion, if I was scouting, he's not draftable. The only reason I draft him is if I can get LeBron to come here. That's all.
Yeah. And LeBron's 39.
You know what though, Ricky? I would take LeBron for the next 2 years if I could, if I was New York Knicks or somebody, but the other end of that, what do I know? I mean, Giannis's brother is playing for Milwaukee and he shouldn't be in the NBA. He should barely be in the G League. So what do I know?
I wonder why he's with the Bucks.
I wonder why Brooke Lopez's brother is with the Bucks too. I wonder why.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, we're definitely gonna be keeping our eye out for the trades, Mo. The time is flying by, man, and we're just so excited to be part of the Sports Fluent family and welcome all these new viewers. Just to let you know, we're here every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Whenever there's some big news going on, you may see us on with a We Got Net Plus, and we may do that trade day, Mo, if we get some big deals. But before we our time runs out here, I do want to look at where we are in the season and in the schedule. We talked about Philly, and that's just a terrible injury for Embiid, who was having the best year of his career, I think by far. And 35 points a game, and he's gone for the next couple of months. And those meniscus tears can be tricky. But Boston has been just cruising all year, Mo. They're 38-12, 5-game lead over Milwaukee. I thought the Bucks would be a little closer to these guys, but they're not. And the thing about the Bucks, Mo, they're scoring 120 points a game and giving up 110 points a game, which is definitely top 5 in defense. And it may be number 2 or 3 overall.
Yeah, I mean, they lost Drew Holiday, one of the best guard defenders, and they got Lillard, one of the best guard scorers, but one of the worst defenders in the NBA as a guard, and he's small. So, their defense has been struggling. They got Doc Rivers, who is a defensive-minded guy, knows his stuff. When you read the comments of the Bucks, from Giannis to Lillard, they're all amazed at the defensive schemes that Doc has put in the last week. Which is amazing to me, but surprising to me. But so they're buying in. They know they have to play defense. They might be missing a piece. I saw a game the other night. Middleton played really well, but overall he's struggled this year. I don't think he's been the same since his surgery. So if they may want to make a move, maybe. But if you're looking, if I'm the Bucks, right? I'm not. But no one's catching Boston. They're 5 games ahead of the Bucks right now with
Right.
30, with 32 games left. So unless someone in Boston goes down, they're not going to catch Boston. So I'm trying to get my own game together. We have our new coach. We get a new flow, a new attitude, and keep playing well. If we catch Boston, great. But that's not. But what I need to do, what we have to do, is we have to stay ahead of the Cavs in the 3rd spot in New York because they're only a half a game and 1 game behind us. So here's the difference. We get the 2nd spot. We don't see the Celtics till the championships of the East. You get the 3rd or 4th spot, you're going to see the Celtics in the 2nd round. So that's a big thing. And that's, if I'm Milwaukee, that's what I'm thinking about right now. We have to keep the 2nd spot.
Yeah. And Mo, when I was talking about giving up only 110 points a game, I was talking about Boston because Milwaukee's giving up 120 points a game.
Yeah, they're terrible.
But Paul, as good as they were defensively, that's 10 more points than what they gave up the year they won the actually almost 11 more points than what they gave up when they won the title.
Well, and one guy is one guy, but Drew Holiday is one of the best ever on-ball defenders. And guess where your defense starts? On the ball. Keep containing the ball handler, pressuring the ball handler. You take that out and you plug in a great offensive player, but one of the worst defensive guards in the league, and he's small. There you go. That's part of it.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Doc Rivers, he's going to be coaching in the All-Star game. And he really got caught in a funny little situation. He gets to coach the team based on the record, despite only being there 3 games. And I guess he's handled it as well as you possibly could, saying he's going to give Adrian Griffin the bonus he gets. But it's just a crazy, quirky rule that works in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, it's the rule. So, first of all, the Celtic coach can't coach because you can't coach in the All-Star game 2 years in a row. So that's why he's not coaching. Before we get into that, congratulations to Chris Finch, one of my good friends, who is now going to be the West Coast All-Star coach. I was his associate head coach in RGV with the G League. We won a championship and came in 2nd. And then I was assistant on the Great Britain national team with Nick Nurse when we coached and when we played in the Olympics in 2012. So Chris is a good friend, and we coached in, I think, 2 G League All-Star games during the NBA All-Star game, one of both. So I wished him well last night. So good luck to him and congratulations. But Doc's been around. Doc Rivers, everyone knows Doc. He knows everybody. So he's doing the best he can. It's a weird rule, but what else are you going to do? Let Adrian Griffin coach in the All-Star game because he deserved it?
Yeah, Doc Rivers said, that is ridiculously bad. It really is.
Yeah, I mean,
Adrian's going to get some money in a ring. It's one of those quirky things.
Yeah.
I think should be a rule somehow, some way that somebody else does it. I'd rather go on vacation for a couple of days. Yeah. I'm going to run that by Adam Silver and see.
Well, here's the rule you can put in, just like the rule the players have. To be MVP race or rookie year or all that, you have to play 65 games, right?
Right.
So that's the rule. So you put it in for head coaches. You have had to have coached that team for 15 games or something, 20 games. And now we'll change that rule. There, I fixed everything. Just like I always do. I fix everything.
Big Mo, that's why you tune in to this show. Hey, Paul, before we get out of here, I see you with your Kansas City Chiefs cap on. The Chiefs going to matriculate the ball down the field against the San Francisco 49ers. And to all you new viewers, I'm here in the great city of Detroit, Motown. And, man, we were almost there with you, but we'll be back. It was a great year for the Lions. But, Mo, your thoughts on the Super Bowl this weekend?
Well, first of all, even though you didn't make it to the Super Bowl, I think there was 4 or 5 parades in Detroit
Oh,
for just
absolutely.
winning games, so you had parades, so that was good.
Absolutely.
You
But
know
but bro, but bro, before you go there, I'll give you your this guy's insight on not just basketball, but the concept of competitive sports. Because for those of you, I think everybody kind of knows the Lions story now. Dan Campbell came in there his first year. They started off 0-10, but man, these guys were playing their behinds off, but they were losing all these games just short, just close, losing all these close games. And Mo, you kept saying that's not a bad sign. Now, can they ever find a way to learn to get over that? And
Yeah,
that's
I
what
think
they did this year.
well, yeah, but now it's, emotional, right? The way they lost is hard. It's hard emotionally to get over. They will never forget that game, ever, never, even if they win Super Bowls. I have 3 or 4 games in my playing career, coaching career. I still think today. I still can't get over them. One game in Game 7 in Boston Garden we lost. So, but they're on the right track and they're young and they have a great coach. So, hopefully, but you know what happens to contract situations and egos and stuff. So hopefully that won't go away. But besides that, let's stop talking about the damn Lions and talk about my Chiefs that are actually in the Super Bowl.
Are they going to matriculate it down the field?
I don't know about matriculate, but they're going to run it and pass it down the field a lot. But you know what though? I thought the over was. I don't even know what it is, but a safe bet. But I
I
don't
think
know
it was
anymore.
two. Oh,
I,
the over. I don't
the
know.
over. I don't know anymore because all these quarterbacks, the best quarterbacks, are still in it. We're still in it for the last few weeks, and none of them have really gone crazy on the offensive end. But you know, uh, anything can happen in the Super Bowl. Both these teams are capable of winning. I mean, let's take away a Ravens fumble on the 1 foot line, and the Chiefs might not be here. Let's take away a 52-yard reception off the defender's face mask, and the Lions might be here. So anything can happen. But you're looking at like the Chiefs have the second best offense, San Francisco the eighth. The Chiefs have the fourth best defense, San Francisco fifth. Uh, Chiefs have Kelsey. San Francisco has Kittles, two of the best. Uh, I
Tight end.
think, yeah, I think the receivers favor San Francisco. If Debo Samuels is healthy, McCaffrey is a monster and he catches the ball. Offensive line and defensive line are equal. So if I'm putting my money and I'm here in Las Vegas and I'm putting my money down, I'm going to bet on Mahomes over Purdy. That's what it
Number
comes down to.
15. He is just he's the difference maker.
And
I mean,
he's spectacular, but more than that, his leadership quality, though
yeah,
his toughness. He had a almost
yeah,
broken ankle. He's like old school. I'm playing. You ain't taking
yeah,
me out. Hey, 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 we're gonna sit you down. Hell no, you're not. I'm getting back in the game. And
yeah.
his football IQ. But then they follow him and get him through times. But I'm gonna tell you, Ricky, I ain't putting no bets down because anything can happen in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
I just hope it's a good game, and the commercials are a little better than last year. So if those two things happen and my Chiefs win, I'll be a happy camper here in Las Vegas, not going to the game because I don't have ten or $15,000 or 2.6 million to buy a suite, which is crazy. But I do have a friend at one of the casinos that has a suite that me and my family and my buddies are going to go to and enjoy the game. So we'll do beat
Hey,
them.
and Mo, and we were talking about you just talked about a great leader with Patrick Mahomes, and we were talking about some of the great players that have been in this show. I don't know if we mentioned your teammate Hall of Famer Sidney Moncrief,
Oh yeah,
who has been on this show too.
yes. Sidney and Jack Sigma both have been on. They're Hall of Famers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about. I think somebody mentioned classic NBA talk here. You get that and more on We Got Next. And Steve, we got you.
Wow.
34-13, Steve, we got you. We
Yeah.
got you.
So the smartest guys in Vegas have it at 2.5 points, and you got to win it by 21.
I'm with you, Steve. I see a blowout.
I hope so, though, Steve. But
Hey, man, this has been another great hour. And again, welcome everybody. We're here every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you to the Sports Fluent family for bringing us aboard. We will not disappoint you. But until next time, I'm going to get out of here. I'm Rickey Hampton for the big fella, Paul Mokeski. Peace, everybody. God bless.
go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. Take care, Mo.